Hello, everyone. Welcome to my crazy summer 2023 vlog, where I'm gonna tell you all about the really crazy summer that I had so far, and it's only beginning of the August. But some of you already know the story because I was live on Instagram telling you about Kale and I being attacked in a park. It was more like a verbal attack, but it was also threatening to kill us, both of us, in front of our other friends. Many of you know Kale is a part of the group called Puppy Patrol. I also run a Puppy Patrol YouTube show. You should check that out. It's so much fun. Anyway, those humans that are parents of the dogs that are Kale friends are often hanging out with us. And while we were in a park in the middle of the field, there was this dude who was like threatening to kill Kale, and then I was like, what? Because Kale was barking, but like he's so sweet. He was barking at his wheels of the cart that he was carrying. It was like baseball coach or whatever. So when I told him, no, you're not gonna kill my dog, and he was like, yes, I'm gonna kill you, and I'm gonna kill your dog. So that was the first crazy thing that has happened to us, but it was okay. Everything is fine. Caleb's licking his paw, so I hope he's okay. And then the summer started, and all the cool things are happening. I'm planning my vacation because like that's my favorite time of the year to travel during the summer. And before I went on a vacation, I was invited back on the show Blocks. The Blocks show, it's also available on my YouTube channel. You should check it out. It's a wonderful show on entrepreneurship. So if you have a business or if you're interested in opening a business, I really think you should check this show out. It's amazing. I went on one season and it was just incredible. The videos that are shown are not doing the justice of the how wonderful experience is because it's very educational. I meet just so many other wonderful businesses throughout the year. I go as a coach slash mentor slash judge because at the end it is a competition show. But I don't think that's a focus on that people are competing. The focus is on the education. And as much as I try to share my experiences and how much struggles I had while opening the business and all the things that I didn't know and now do, I still learn so much from all of these people, and it's just super cool thing to do. So when I was invited to go back, I really wanted to, but it overlapped with my trip to Europe. So I was like, how I'm gonna do this? I was chatting with them. And then what we basically decided is that we're gonna shoot a show, and the show is ending on July 18th at night. Like we literally finished shooting like 10 p.m. at night, and there's like a celebration party after that. And then my flight directly from there, it's 6 a.m., like 6 in the morning, to go directly basically to Europe. I had a stop, but it just was a lot going on in that moment, and I was like, I don't have time to exit in the airport in Chicago, so I'm gonna like literally have to go straight over there. And the reason why I was rushing so much is because my little brother was getting married, so I had a particular date that I have to be there, and it was overlapping with the show, so it was just like so rough. But we made it work. I was like, I'm gonna still be at the show. We finished the shooting that night, and I am just gonna go like celebrate a little bit with everybody because it is so great. Like everybody, it's like there's no more competing. Like I feel everybody's more relaxed, and that one last night is like really the most beautiful one. So I wanted to be there, but then at the, did you hear something? Did you hear something? There was some noise in a background, and then Kale was like just trying to pay attention to that. Anyway, to go back to the last night of the Blocks, it is my favorite one. I really wanted to be there, but I was like, I'm just gonna go run to my room, pack my things, and leave to the airport. And then I'm going on a who knows how many flights and how long is this trip going to take, but I was like, I'm doing it. So I that's exactly what I did. I packed my stuff. I sat on the plane from Tulsa to Chicago. So I'm not exiting the airport in Chicago, like I'm just transiting because that's where the stop. We were originally supposed to go directly to Barcelona, but then the plan changed. I'm not gonna go deep into that because of my brother's wedding and everything. Then we decided to travel actually first to Montenegro and then to Barcelona. Completely changed. The plan was to travel to Barcelona first and then to go to Montenegro. We ended up first traveling to Montenegro and then after that traveling to Barcelona. Anyway, I took a flight from Tulsa to Chicago and then from Chicago to Belgrade, Serbia. Okay, that was the best connection. There is now direct flight with the airline Air Serbia that it's directly from Serbia, Belgrade. It's the capital. There's direct flight Chicago, Belgrade, and then from Belgrade to capital of Montenegro, which is called Podgorica. It's only like 30-40 minutes flight. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be easy. But that's still 3 flights. That's still 3 airports to go through, and I was like, oh my god, like, and I'm so tired after shooting a show for like the entire week from the morning till the night, and I was just like trying to. Thank God I was in a first class. Very grateful that I had the opportunity to lay down because it's just it's a lot on you. So just when I thought, oh, Air Serbia, it's so great. They're like having this really wonderful first class and like the crew was amazing. Like they treated me nicely. I did not request ahead of time the meal, so they were trying to improvise right on board to make sure I eat something. They were bringing me a lot of fruits, a lot of nuts and stuff because vegan thing, right? Like who, in case somebody doesn't know, I'm vegan. So, that was the tricky part for not requesting meal ahead of time, but they really made it work. I was not hungry throughout the trip. They were bringing me a lot of fruits and nuts, and I don't know, some like vegan bread they had. They made it work, and I was thinking like, oh, that is very sweet. In all of this, what is happening on another side is Julian is coming from Chicago there, and he's entering the same plane. I am going we are both going to Montenegro, but he's just not in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I was shooting the show. He's joining in Chicago airport, right? So I'm traveling because I was shooting a show and then I'm going to Europe. So I have 2 check-in bags. But since I use most of those stuff in Oklahoma, Julian is bringing us stuff for the wedding. He's bringing like a nice attire that we're gonna wear, like a brand new shoes that he purchased for both of us, a lot of gifts for the family members, and he's also checking in 2 bags. So we are total with 4 checked-in bags plus the 2 little bags that we have as a carry-on. Once we finally arrive in Podgorica, all 4 bags are missing. Okay, we're waiting. We actually had a very short connection and the flight was a little delayed from Chicago to Belgrade. So when we arrived to Belgrade, we had a very short connection. So I figured out, okay, bags will be delayed. But there's a lot of flights in between Podgorica and Belgrade daily. So I was like, bags will make it in an hour or whatever. Or I don't know, if not on the next flight, next day. Which happened for the 2 bags, my 2 bags from Oklahoma. However, Julian's bags never arrived till today. Now it's August and we still don't have information about those 2 bags. But let's go back to the moment where we are at the airport. Bags are not there. We leave them our information, which hotel we are going to stay in. We went to the hotel. And they called us the next day that I found 2 bags with my dirty clothes from Oklahoma that like we basically don't even need. Like I'm carrying those just because I don't have an option. Like I didn't want to just leave it in Oklahoma. We need the bags where our wedding stuff is, where all the presents are, where like all the important things are. And those bags are completely missing. And we kept calling, there is nothing. We were like, let's wait another day, there is nothing. And I was like, we had some really nice, expensive clothes. We planned that it's my brother's wedding, right? So like that's the moment you invest to look good. So we just don't know what to do. And I was like, we're just gonna probably have to improvise and like buy everything on spot. And I just don't know any stores in Montenegro. We went to some mall that I have. I really couldn't find anything. And then somebody told me about this place where I can like find like a sweet like wedding clothes to buy, and I went, and 2 hours before my brother's wedding I found an outfit that I ended up wearing. Maybe I should attach a picture or something to show you what I looked like. But it was absolutely improvised. And then when I posted that picture, my friend that you probably all know as Tabitha, she texted me that I look great, and I was like, oh my god, thank you so much, because like I feel so disappointed that like I had to improvise all of this because I didn't have my original plan with me. We didn't have the clothes that like we picked months and months ahead to look fabulous. So I was like, oh, so I really appreciate a compliment. And then we were joking. She goes like, probably somebody in Tulsa, Oklahoma is wearing your clothes right now. But actually no, because the bags from Chicago got lost, which in moment like I didn't even realize. I was so tired. I still am a little bit tired. If you're not noticing my energy, it's really not at 100%. But I'm enjoying this, so I'm gonna continue telling you the story. Yeah, my friends, family thought I looked good, so I was like, okay, this is great. Nobody's complaining. Nobody knows that I had to improvise this outfit 2 hours before the wedding. Julian had to do the same, and Julian's brother too. So Julian's family was coming from Venezuela to the wedding too, and Julian got outfit for his brother as well, which also got lost. So not just not just two for Julian and me, but the three full wedding outfits that we had are lost in that luggage. And not just that, but as I said, the brand new shoes that he got, and a lot of gifts. He got a gift for my brother, for the bride, for my family, for his family members, because they were coming from Venezuela too. So both luggages are filled with a brand new stuff, some of those very expensive that like Julian was collecting for a year. Because the second we come back from the vacation, Julian starts buying gifts for the next year that it's coming. He's always like that. So we didn't have anything to give to those people. And as I'm saying, like he was literally collecting this for 1 year long. It just shows that there was a lot of value in that. And it's not even about that, but like we see our families once a year. So like once we do see them, we live for those moments when we just give them gifts and they're happy and they're smiling. And not that they're not happy to see us, of course they are, but it's just, that's how we are. We love giving gifts. It's just our favorite thing to do, and we couldn't do it. Anyway, I was hoping maybe eventually gonna get luggage sometime while we are there. We were calling airline, we were calling airport in Belgrade, we were calling airport in Podgorica, updating with addresses. We are moving. We finished being where the wedding was, which was the capital of Montenegro, Podgorica. We went to Budva, which is another city at the coast at the beach. We were there. We called. We said like, oh, we are in a different hotel now. Like, so don't bring the bags there if you find it. But they're just not responding, not calling us. And then it's time to leave Montenegro and to go to Barcelona. So we're calling them and saying, hey, we are going to Spain now. So like, if you have any information, this is the hotel where we're gonna be. At this point, nobody's responding anymore. Nobody's calling us. Like, zero information about the bags. Anyway, the new crazy problems start. So we're not just going Julian and me to Barcelona, but the entire family. Julian's family, my mom, my dad, my both brothers, and wives of my both brothers, and the kid. The kid is of my brother who actually just got married. I always consider, I used to say, oh, both of my brothers are married. But they were actually not. They just live with the wives, and it's just with girlfriends, right? But like, and having a kid with her, so I was like, that's wife. So I was always saying that they're married, but they're actually not, technically, right, on a paper, but like this, they're married. And anyway, my mom is arriving to the airport, and she knows this. What's the biggest shock for me, that she was very well aware of her passport expiring within the less than 3 months of the trip. So I worked for the airline in my past life. That was in 2012 or 2013 for Qatar Airways. Different story, we'll talk about it some other time, but I knew that there's no absolute way that you can travel once your passport is about to expire. Majority of the countries are requiring your passport to be valid for a minimum 6 months, but there is also some countries that will let you travel in between that period of 6 to 3 months, but no one will let you travel once your passport it's like less than 3 months valid, which was my mom's case. And she knew about it, but she was like, oh, we're going for 7 days in Spain, and then once I come back, I'm gonna renew it. But she just didn't tell me or anyone who knows this, right? So we arrived to the airport, and they first check her in. Actually, the check-in agent doesn't make problem about it. He finishes the check-in. Oh, because we checked in online. They didn't even require, like, we checked in online, so like he just printed out our bags. He gave us additional boarding passes, and then he took all the bags, checked them in, and we are about to pass the immigration, and that's where my mom gets stopped because her passport is not valid, and they're like, oh, you cannot go. You like, my mom's like, what I'm gonna do? You checked me in, you took my bags, and like, yeah, they're like, you don't. Then I find out. I was like, Mom, I knew that's the case. I know you cannot fight this. Like, I worked for the airline. I knew that there is no way around it. Like, that no one can say yes, once you don't have a valid passport, you cannot travel. I mean, it's valid, but less than 3 months. It's a rule. Like, you just cannot do it. And then she says, okay, maybe talk to supervisor. We go. In the meantime, I was buying a ticket for my carry-on because we were traveling with some airline that low cost or something. They charge you for carry-ons and everything. That was like the only available flights. I was like, sure, let's go, no problem. I'll go pay for my carry-on. But while I'm doing that, I'm meeting this guy who very sweet, chatty, like, hey, how are you guys doing? I was like, oh, the entire family, like, going on vacation together, blah, blah. Like, we chatted a little bit, and it was very sweet, because when he saw that we were having a problem, he was already invested in my story, because I told him, like, oh, I'm going with my entire family. And then when he saw we were having an issue, he was like, oh, what is going on? So I tell him, like, I go back to him and I say, they stopped my mom. Like, she doesn't have a like a valid passport. I mean, valid, but it's expiring with a 2 months and, like, I don't know, 27 days, but definitely less than a 3 months period. So he goes like, oh damn, that's so bad. He was like, I really don't think there's anything we can do. He was like, there is this, like, a main person of the airport, like a supervisor or a manager or somebody important. She was like, maybe he was like, maybe she can make that decision, and like, she's like really good-hearted person, like we can go and ask her. I was like, well, I don't know who that is. Because like, I'll help you find her. So we do find her, but she says, I'm so, like, he was right, a good person, but she was like, I'm so sorry, like, I can let you go, but in Barcelona they'll stop you, they'll deport you, they'll make us fine, because letting you, like, we are supposed to check this, and if we let you go, like, we're just gonna get in trouble, and we're gonna have to pay the penalties. And I know all of this, like, I know it, so I'm like, so I made it. I was like, I in my mind, I'm like, Mom, you're not going, like, there's no way around this, right? So, but the fact that this guy was like with us all the time, and he was like listening to what was going on, and he was like, oh, so like the main person from the Montenegro airport will let you go if the Barcelona accepts you there, right? So he just disappears. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, he gave up too, like, I understand. We go back to the counter because they checked in my mom's bag. So I was like, you have to give my mom bag back. In the meantime, my father decides not to travel. He was like, I'm not going without her, I shared the story on the podcast, which also you should check out, the one I did with Joanne Molinaro, her podcast, Are You Ready? I shared how my father is insanely in love with my mom, and he's immediately decided not to travel, so they're pulling him off the flight, but he already passed immigration, so he had to go out. They are bringing both of their bags that they checked in back, and they ripped off their boarding passes. I'm saying goodbye to my mom, and I wasn't even like making drama about it. I wasn't even sad. I was like, listen, from the above, it was decided she's not going that day. So I was like, we cannot fight. You know what it's meant to be. It's meant to be. And I literally said that to my mom when I hugged her. I said, listen, mom, this is what it was supposed to be, what it's ours. No one will take away from us. Was not meant to be for us, and we are not supposed to be questioning reason why it's not supposed to be for us, but just to accept it, and that's it. I'll see you soon. I hug her, and I said, like, because I have to go to Barcelona because my flight back to Chicago, it's later on from Barcelona. So we just said goodbye, and as I'm leaving to pass through the immigration, the guy who disappeared, who was helping us, it's on the phone with someone in like a little office, and he's waving from there to me and calling me to come in. And I go, and do you know why he disappeared? He's on a phone with Spain. He called a Spanish government, the I don't know, people from the border on the airport, and he's on the line, and as he's calling me, they're just picking up. And he's asking them, he's like, hey, this is the situation. He asked me immediately, do you have a hotel reservation? I was like, yes, I do. I pull it off. And he was like, I have rooms for everybody. Do you have return tickets for your family? I was like, yes, I'm going to Chicago from Barcelona. I'm not returning, but here's a return ticket that my mom is returning in 7 days. So he sees that, and he gives them the information about our flight. He gives them information about our booking ticket, and he's asking Spain, hey, like, this is the situation. If we let her go from here, will you let her come in once she lands to Spain? And the guy on the phone says, oh, let me talk to my supervisor and over here and ask. And like, we reach to somebody over the phone, and that somebody says, oh yeah, of course, no problem at all. Like, we'll just let her. If it was like, if you let her there, we'll let her here. And we're like, what is going on now? And then he goes like, oh, this is a problem now because the airline will not let her go. Because if let's say it does happen that they return her, the airline is responsible to buy her flight back. So he was like, they're not gonna let her. But he was like, you know what? But it was like, I'm just gonna go and talk to them. So he goes, he checks in my mom back again. He helps check in bags again. And now my mom has to pass immigration where like she was stopped, but he goes with her and like he lets her pass through there, and he goes to like people who are reviewing passports and everything, and he says, hey, I'm just off the phone. He works for the airport, so they trust him. I was like, I'm just off the phone with a Spanish border people at the airport over there. They approved it. They said that she will enter with no problem if we let her go from here. And that's exactly what they did. They let her pass through. And then at the gate, he also put a note, documents are okay, because he was scared that maybe at the gate they will stop her again. So there was a message that popped up, like it beeped, like, and the agent at the gate was like, oh, what's going on? But the beeped because the message popped up, passport is okay, like let her go. And she does, and we are on the airplane in this moment, and now we are scared, like, hey, somebody from Spain told us that, like, she can enter, but do you know how many police officers is in the Spain on, like, it's a way bigger airport than the one in Montenegro. I was like, that could honestly be anyone, and maybe somebody will make a problem. So we were like, in our head, practicing the story, that it's truthful story, but what we're gonna say, like, if they stop her over there. And we finally arrived, we landed to Barcelona, we are passing now through their police, through immigration, everything. They didn't even look. They did not care. So they were just like, oh, stamp, 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 and we passed, and we are in Barcelona. After I said goodbye to my mom, after They returned her bags, and my father exited the immigration that he once passed. After all of that, we are sitting uh, in our Uber ride to our hotel and to Barcelona. And I'm thinking of the words that I said to my mom: what is yours, no one can take away from you. What it's meant to be, it will be. And I thought that that day was not meant for us to go to Barcelona, but it turns out it was. And just the universe, the God, and whatever power wanted that to happen, it happened. And we are so grateful to that wonderful gentleman who was like, he was acting like it was his own family. He never knew us before, like he never knew who we were or anything like that. He was just genuinely good person who I shared 5 minutes before that. How excited am I that like my entire family and I are going on a vacation together, and he just wanted that to happen, and his help was just insane. And again, I thought it's some karma in universe, because I mentioned to you guys I did work for the airline. I used to do that things all the time. Like if people had a problem, I would going like above and beyond, because like I was just always, oh my god, like they're going through this, and I was like really empathetic. That's why they put me to work on like service recovery, which was like the hardest job to do. It's people with a problem, because like I always could show a lot of empathy for them, and I would calm them down. People would not scream, yell, and like all the problems that happen in the airports once people are miss their connections and all the awful things. And I just remember my time doing that, and I was like, okay, this is literally how I was fighting for people, for the families to go on the same flights once they wanted like to be like, oh, we have a 3 seats but not for the rest of you, and things like that. I was just always trying to accommodate it the best possible for all of them. So it just seems it came back to me that day, that this random person that I just have seen for the first time in my life that day was like literally like fighting for us like it's his own family. And there's no way on earth we would be able to make it happen without him to call the Spain. And like later on, even when the Spain said yes, there is no way we would be able to explain that to airline, to explain that to passport people if it was not for him. So he really, really, really tremendously helped, and the only reason me and my family enjoyed our vacation in Barcelona is absolutely that guy. And so grateful. So we love him. Like I told my brother, go back to the airport, find him, like tell him he's like our family now. So that is was a beautiful part of this crazy situation, and as I said, crazy summer that was going on. In Barcelona, we had a wonderful time. There was just so much eating, and like all the vegan restaurants that we have seen, and it was just so beautiful. My family is almost entirely vegan right now, because like my father is vegan, I am vegan. Julian, it's like 99% vegan, because he'll sometimes only eat eggs. He doesn't do dairy. He'll like no milk, no cheese, no animal product, no fish, nothing, no seafood. He'll just sometimes, not in the house, but like when we go out and eat somewhere, he'll just very, very rarely eat eggs. So I'm hoping that's gonna go off the list too. So he's gonna also be fully vegan. But my mom, it's something like Julian. She's like almost vegan, like ate vegan the entire time, but like she'll just skip it from time to time and a very small things, never meat, right? And my older brother and his wife are now trying veganism a little bit also. They call themselves flexitarians, which is like fine. But they're just really excited and exploring that opportunity. So the only basically person who consumes meat in our family is my younger brother, which is my goal to make him vegan as well. But however, it's like we're a majority now in the family. We were mostly eating at the vegan restaurants out there, and like we celebrate my mom's birthday. And we're just so beautiful. I had a friend in Barcelona, and he joined us, and his boyfriend, and it was just a lot of us, and it was a lot of fun. However, no word of the luggages. We came to Chicago. My mom safely returned back to Montenegro because she had a problem now with the online check-in because they were not letting her to online check-in because of the warning of the passport. So I think she just put the passport expires in 2024 and like just went with it. And then when she arrived to the airport, she didn't say anything. But I was not worried because I knew eventually they're just gonna let her. She's going back to her own country, so there's no risk of like being prohibited to enter the country or something like that. That's where the airline is making problem. Airline doesn't want to let you if there's to travel with them if there's a risk of the country not letting you in because then they have to pay for the ticket back. But considering that she's going to her own country, there's no risk of return, of deportation, of prohibited entry. So that is why I knew that they were just gonna let her back, and I was safe, feeling safe about that. And that's exactly what happened. They went um, back home with no problems. Everybody arrived home, and I was just like chatting with them today, and I was like, we had such a wonderful time. However, there is still no information about our luggage. So we called so many times Air Serbia. They're just not responding. They're not picking up the phone. It's ringing, ringing, ringing. That phone for lost and found, for lost baggage, for everything. There's an email address that you can send. I've sent. They're not responding. I sent 5, 6 emails. They're not responding. We tried to contact airport. They're not responding. So I still like didn't fully give up on this. People are saying like, oh, they have to reimburse you. I was like, there's so much money in that luggage. They're gonna be like, you're making now things up. So like, I really don't prefer reimbursement. I prefer the actual stuff because no one is gonna reimburse us how much there is in those luggages. Because as I said, like for 1 year, we were collecting gifts. There, and as I said, like we didn't buy cheap things for the wedding because this is like once in a lifetime, so like we really went crazy on it, and I'm just sad that all of those things are gone, but I prefer the wonderful time that I had with my family. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for doing this with me today. It's what wonderful vlog that it's one-on-one. I loved it. I might do this more often, but I just wanted to tell you about little crazy things that happened to me throughout this summer, but it was beautiful. I'm very, very, very grateful, feeling very grateful and fulfilled right now. And it just that I had a time like, you know, that the moments spent with my family was just like amazing. And if I do find the luggage, I'll let you know. And if I don't, maybe that was the price to pay for the, you know, wonderful vacation I had with my family, and for my mom still managing to travel to Barcelona, even though her passport was about to expire. So thank you so much for tuning in with me today. I love you a lot, and I cannot wait for us to do this again. Bye!